So here's my code of ethics. I have my logo up at top. I have the color scheme I use on my portfolio and other things. I like to be consistent and make everything look the same, and I think this is important, so it should look like everything else on my portfolio. So I have everything laid out. And when I was doing research about code of ethics, I kind of realized it's really just, your core principles and what you value the most. And so I really did some soul searching. I kind of thought about what's important to me and what's something I want employers to know about me before they hire me. That way they know what I stand for, and that way if they ask me to do something and I'm not comfortable with it, I told them at the beginning. Um, so I decided to lay out these principles because they were the most important to me. So I have this preamble, and all the code of ethics I looked at had preambles for the most part, and it's just kind of laying out what I'm going to be talking about, and that way employers, it's essentially a summary of the entire code of ethics. That way employers don't have time to read the whole thing. They get the gist of it. And it reads, media professionals face many ethical dilemmas. These dilemmas can come at any time and often need a switch and clear response. Establishing a code of ethics helps aid consistency in holding true to important principles. As a media professional, I'll always strive to maintain my integrity. I'll always produce the best quality work with the resources available. I'll always be truthful in my messages and transactions. I'll take responsibility for my decisions and actions. I will hold true to the values of myself and my employer, and I stand by these ethical principles and hope to uphold them throughout my career. The first principle is integrity. Integrity is the heart of any profession, but it's especially important in the media industry. I hope to never compromise my integrity. I will stand by who I am and what I stand for. Honesty and implications will always be in the forefront of any decision. Money is important to consider, but will not lead me to act in bad faith. I'll be culturally aware and open to new ideas and respectful to others. So to me, integrity is really important in any profession. It says a lot about your character, and it's really, it says a lot about what you stand for, and are you willing to be pushed around. If you have good integrity, if you hold true to who you are. If you have bad integrity, you kind of act in bad faith, and you don't really stick by who you are, and you're kind of an inconsistent person. So that's kind of what I said in the first. And then also, I think all these principles tie together. And so I think truthfulness and then also responsibility also tie into your integrity. And that's kind of why I wanted to add that in there, because it's important to be honest. That's having good integrity. And it's important to also own up to your actions when you make mistakes. And to me, those implications or the consequences of an action will always be at the front of my decision, and who I'm infecting, and what the impact of my decision is. And also money is important too, because that can lead to a lack of integrity a lot of the time if money is involved in a decision and you decide to act in bad faith because money is more important than your integrity. And then also part of integrity to me is also just being respectful of others and open to new ideas, and just that's going to help you in life and in your field, and and just being a well-rounded person. The next principle is quality. And for quality, I wrote, anything worth doing is always worth doing right. If I'm given a task, big or small, I want to always do my best, even if it's something I'm not excited about. The quality of work says a lot about character and image. I want to always give the image of hard work and quality. If I'm representing other people, it's respectful to them to produce good work. I don't want to taint a brand. I want to go above and beyond the bar set for me. I will make use of all my resources available to me. I'll leave no stone unturned or corner cut. I'll always produce the highest quality work. So to me, quality of work is pretty important. I always like to give 110% because it's reflecting who you are and the kind of work that you do, and you never know who's watching. This can be said for anything. I play in a music group around town sometimes, and I never want to have a bad performance because you never know who's watching. When it's your next gig is watching you, and if you play bad, you're missing out on an opportunity. And same thing with your work. You never know who's going to see your work and the opportunity that's going to be presented to you. And plus, it's respectful to the company that you're working for. You don't want to do bad work for them. It makes them look bad, and in return makes you look bad and makes them not happy with you. So it's important to always produce quality work. And I understand sometimes, you're not given a lot of resources to do a task or a project, and that's fine. That's why I say I'll do the best with what I have, because that's who I am, and what I plan to do is always do the best with what I have, and to not cut corners or kind of take the short way or something like that. Just always do the best work I possibly can do. Next, I put truthfulness, and I wrote, the media must be truthful in two ways. First, the media must be truthful to the public. Second, the media must be truthful when conducting business. News is the watchdog, and it's responsible that shouldn't be taken lightly. Advertising and public relations must be honest in claims and statements made to the public. In news, I'll use accurate and relevant information. Always use quotes and context. I won't compromise my integrity by using a false source. In advertising and public relations, I'll communicate in a truthful manner. I'll relay positive information without bending the truth. I'll be truthful in business transactions. I want to. I won't back down on a promise. I won't overpromise or lie about the time frame of a project. Truthfulness needs to shine through in the media industry. So to me, truthfulness breaks down to two categories. It's being truthful to the public and being truthful in your business and how you conduct business and doing what you say you're going to do and not over exaggerating or not lying about how long something's going to take or how much money it's going to cost or how much money you need or how much money you're going to make. And so the first thing I lay out is to the public. The media has a big responsibility to the public to be truthful. The news is the public's relying on the news and the media for truthful information, and it's a responsibility that we really shouldn't take lightly. And this can go in hands with all media. Advertising needs to not overpromise too much or bend the truth about a product, and public relations too needs to not go too far when defending an issue or dealing with crisis communication. Do the best you can, but also don't lie. So, and also, within your transactions, I don't. It's sometimes, someone will ask me to do a project, and I'm not going to say, oh, how about you by the end of the day, because I'm most likely I won't if it's a really long project. And also with like, oh, this is gonna be great for our website. It's gonna generate 10,000 hits, even though it probably won't. So just always being honest with people and upfront about everything, and that just comes from being a forward person. It's important to be forward in business and let them know, because you're wasting everyone's time if you're not being forward with them, if you're kind of beating around the bush. It's just important to be upfront with everybody and be truthful. Next, I put values, and I wrote, every person's values differ. It's important to respect others' values. I want to always be mindful of the values I'm reflecting, whether that's the values of a company or audience. I want to have respect for others' ideas and principles. Values are most apparent while making a decision. When I'm making a decision, I hope to weigh my values and the values of others. Hopefully, doing so will lead to the right decision. I also value how my decision impacts others. Media impacts a wide range of people. Sometimes it's unavoidable to harm or offend others. I hope my decisions harm and offend the least amount of people. So this just comes down to everyone's different in what they value, and I realize that, and it's just something you have to respect, that people are different and they get offended or harmed or not offended by things you say and do. It's just something you really just can't avoid. And especially in the media, a lot of stuff you talk about or the stuff you're dealing with, you just have to think about your decisions. You have to think about how you're going to impact others, because it's just important, and that's something I value. And so with values, it's more of a respect for other people's values, and sometimes you need to conform to the values of your company, because that's where you're working, that's what you decided to do, and that's what you need to reflect. You can't reflect your own values on something that's not necessarily putting out by yourself. So it's important to realize what you're representing and what you're making, and realize those values and let those shine through, because that's your company and those are those values, and that helps a lot. Last, I have responsibility, and I wrote, actions have consequences, and I hope to always own up to my actions, no matter what the repercussions. If I'm responsible, I will take ownership of my actions. I will not let someone or something else take the fall for harm I cause. Mistakes are unavoidable, and when they do happen, it's important to learn from them. Part of learning from them comes from taking responsibility for them. So with this, it's just I never like to make excuses, or I never like to blame others, because a lot of most of the time it's just you have to take responsibility. If something doesn't get done, or something gets done wrong, or something got messed up, and it's pretty much your fault, it's your fault, and you need to take responsibility for it. And that's what I value. I value taking responsibility for my actions, and owning up to what you do. You're going to make mistakes, and I want employers to know that when I do make mistakes, I own up to them, I learn from them, I grow from them, because that's important to becoming a better person and a better employee, and doing your job better, because you're going to make mistakes. So, as a media professional, we just have a responsibility to take responsibility for our actions. Because if you don't, you're really wasting everyone's time, and that's just not fair. So, taking responsibility for your actions, it's a good thing. So that was my code of ethics. Those are principles that I find important to me and that I want to stand by, and what I want to stand for in the media industry. It's been kind of good to assess and do some soul searching and kind of see where I stand and what's important to me and what I want to look like from an ethical standpoint as a media professional. So I hope you enjoyed listening to me and my principles.